Hey, what's up guys? It's Pedro here from NoobCoder.com, and in this tutorial I want to talk about the grid layout. So we've been working with the border layout primarily because it is the default layout, so we can position our components like so. But there are other layouts and I want to dive right into it. So I'm going to keep all this code here because this is pretty much the bare minimum that we need. And I'm going to delete all this code because we don't need it anymore. And now, to change the layout, we just say pane, because remember, we're getting the content pane, and now we need to set the layout of the content pane to grid layout, because right now it's using the border layout, and we don't want that. So I'm going to say set layout new grid layout. And now here I'm going to pass in two arguments. So this is going to be the rows and the columns. So you could think of this as a two-dimensional array if you want to, or just a table. So you have rows and columns. Then I'm going to hit Control-Shift-O. We are going to import the grid layout. So we have it here. And now all we need to do is add our components. So we're going to be adding buttons. So since we have 3 rows and 3 columns, the most amount of buttons that we could add is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to say for int I is equal to 0, while I is less than 9, I plus plus. And now here is where I'm going to add my buttons. So I'm going to say pane.add. And then we are going to create our components. We do not need the second argument. So I'm going to say new JButton. And in here, we need to pass in the name of the button. So I'm going to use this variable I here. But there's a problem with this variable I. It's expecting an argument of type string, and this is of type int. So we're going to have to use a wrapper class. So I'm going to say integer.toString, and then pass in I. Control-Shift-O to import the JButton. So now you can see that we did import the JButton. And this should work. I just need to add my semicolon. Make sure I don't get any compile errors. Control-S to save. And let's run this. So now you can see the difference between border layout and grid layout. It's literally 3 rows and 3 columns. And you can also see that we don't have to specify where we're adding our JButtons at, because it goes by row. So you see row 0, button 0, button 1, button 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Now there's another constructor that we can call. We don't have to use the 2-argument constructor. Grid layout has another feature, and you can see when I hit Control space, you can see IntelliSense is helping us. So there's another one that has int hgap and int vgap. So what the hell does that mean? It's the gap between the buttons. So if I close this, and let's say I have a 10 and 0. Let's run this again. You can see we added a vertical gap that is 10 pixels. And you can see our horizontal, there is no gap because this is 0. So if I close this out and I change this to 10, execute the program, you can see that we have a horizontal gap of 10 pixels. And a vertical gap of 10 pixels. So that's essentially the grid layout. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Like, comment, subscribe.